Hello, everybody over here, Instagram and on YouTube, where you're going to catch the replay. Coming live, I think it's day 12 or 13 of our challenge. I'm starting to lose count of our live challenge and how many days. I just know I got to go live every day. And as you guys can see, when you get me live every single day, it gets like the really real side of me, right? Like I realize I have not been very consistent about being in the public eye for quite a while. Just been doing a lot of stuff. I don't know, gosh, I haven't been doing videos consistently. So anyway, coming on today, thank you, love. Thank you. I've only got just a short time this morning. I've got to get ready to teach our coaching certification class on Tuesdays. And so I'm going to keep it brief today. I know we went really long yesterday, and I've got class at noon to teach our coaching certification. We're winding down. We only got a couple weeks left to graduation. So we have a whole new class of coaches who are graduating to start their abundant life coaching businesses. And so busy over there. And that's my plug, right? If you are wanting to be a life coach, you want to invest in training. What makes our training really unique, guys, is that it is, first of all, we teach you how to make money as a coach, how to scale up to your first 6 figures as a coach. We teach you the marketing and business aspect of coaching, not just coaching practices, coaching techniques, which is crucial because that's what most people who are naturally gifted at coaching lack, is the business acumen, the entrepreneurship side, how to get themselves out there, how to get clients. So we focus a lot. The business school aspect of our certification is about 8 weeks. The first 4 weeks contains my healing course that I taught for years or offered to clients for years, that gets really like deep level breakthrough in the healing aspect of your own life. So the first 4 weeks of coaching certification is focused on you and your personal development and healing before we get into all of the business and marketing aspects of coaching. So for those of you who are wanting to be a life coach and you say, oh, I'm not ready, I got to work on this part of my life, that part of my life, we cover that inside of the training so you can get professional help with that, then go into all of the business and marketing modules. All right, so I did my little plug while everybody's coming on. Today's topic, look, I always forget to say this because we have so many new followers. I'm Rebecca Lynn Pope. I am a Master Abundant Life Coach. I am an author. I am a speaker. I own several different businesses. I'm a CEO. I focus on mindfulness, I'm a spirit-led life coach. I train and certify other life coaches, abundant life coaches. We have an academy, Abundant Life Path University. I am a business guru, marketing, branding, and I'm a healer. At the end of the day, that is the essence of who I am. I am a spiritual healer. So that being said, as I apply this to relationships and life and everything that we see going on nowadays, the topic of today's video is the relationship revolution. For all of you who are single, fellas, ladies, everybody on with me right now. For all of you who are single, it is not your imagination. It is really difficult. It's really difficult now. It's more difficult than it's ever been in history, in the history of male-female relations, right? It's harder than ever to connect. It's harder than ever to meet people. It's harder than ever to find somebody special. It is not your imagination. And the reason we are experiencing this in our modern time is because we are in the middle of a relationship revolution. Relationship revolution. We are at a time in history, guys, where everything has changed so much that nobody knows what they're doing. Does that make sense? No, all the rules, everything you've tried to create, all the books about the rules of how all of this is supposed to work, right? All of the dating theories that are mostly grounded in stereotypical or traditional gender roles. A lot of this stuff, guys, it's up in the air at this point, right? Everyone wants to be able to give cookie cutter advice for what fits today's woman, today's man. But guys, it's all over the place. And why is it all over the place? because we are at a point in time where all of these very long-term customs, traditions that society and men and women have created over time are now being challenged, are now changing. And it's not that it's not just changing, it's changed. Everything's changed. So starting, if you, short little history lesson, right? Everything between men and women began to change with industrialization, when women started working. And guys, here's another thing, especially ladies who don't quite understand why the struggle is so hard. You have to understand that the changes that we have gone through as women and the roles we play in society has changed this is literally like very recent. Very, very recent in the overall history, right? It's literally, you're talking since the 70s. The 70s. We're talking about like the last 50 years has been a lot of the major shifts and major changes. You're not talking about generations and generations and hundreds of years. Right? It's been a long time coming, but as far as like the major shifts you see in our current society, this is all very new. So you don't think of it as new because it's just your reality, but you go back just a couple generations and things are completely different than it was for your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother. Right? So ladies, and I'm talking to the men too, as you are experiencing this difficulty in relationships, difficulty in dating, difficulty in being able to connect and find a special person, there's lots of variables playing into this. There's lots of issues, right? Which makes it get complicated really quickly. So you go back to industrialization, when women started to work, this began to shift the landscape of male-female gender roles. When women went into the workforce and were no longer just, taking care of home, taking care of the children, cooking, cleaning, they started working outside of the home in very large numbers due to necessity. It was war. There's not enough men to work these factory jobs, to create all of the machinery, the armory, there's a history lesson. Just go Google industrialization, right? So now women go into the workforce. Then the men come back from war and women are working, but there's now like the cat's out the bag. You can't put the cat back in the bag. We've now created an economy that relies on the female workforce. Okay, female workforce. I'm trying to wrap this up as quickly as I can. So now women are in the workforce. There's no going back with that. Women start working. And it's not in large, like all women, a certain percentage of women start working. Predominantly, women are still seen as mothers and wives. The predominant role that men see women should have in their life is to be their wife and to be the mother of their children and to take care of the house. That was the role, the predominant expectation that men had of wives. Okay, that's why they get married. Mother of your children, legacy, home. Okay, now as everything begins to evolve, now, and it didn't just start with industrialization, guys. You have to remember, women had to fight for the right to vote. Women's suffrage. Remember, you study that in school. Remember guys, go back in history. You're talking about women had, just like the civil rights movement, to give minorities the right to vote, to be seen as an equal to white men. Women had to fight for the right to vote. Just like people of color had to fight for the right to vote, because women are only one notch above minorities or black people or slaves coming out of history. I said it. This is, ladies, why you don't really understand some of the generational mindsets that men have from our patriarchal society. This is thousands of years old. If you go back thousands of years coming forward, women had no rights. Women had no role except sex, babies in the house. No rights, no roles other than that. It used to be women couldn't even read. Women couldn't get an education. Think about that. That's closely related to slavery, closely related to slavery. Okay? So if you begin to realize, that's right, it was just over 100 years ago that we got the right to vote. Only 100 years. Let that sink in. And then you fast forward to now and look at everything that women are doing. Guys, we're in a this is a revolution. Revolution. So guess what? Okay, we go through 100 years ago, women's right to vote. Now, mind you, when the civil rights, when the Constitution was written, Black people were considered to be only 3/5 of a man, a white man. They didn't say women, a white man, 3/5. That's what, so in other words, when the Constitution was written, it wasn't including women and minorities and Black people and slaves. It was white men writing those rules and writing those laws. Okay. That's why there had to be all of these literally amendments and rights put in, human rights and civil rights for women and Black people, because none of that included us. Okay. None of that. No rights. So if a slave was 3/5 of a human being, 3/5 of a white man, maybe a woman, in my mind, I'm thinking like a woman, and a white woman would have been 4/5, but she still wasn't seen as equal to a man. Get that through your head. Now, if you're a minority, man or woman, you just asked out. You 3/5 of them. You get 3/5. That's the value. You're not even considered a full human being, right? We know the history is ugly. We know it's ugly, but it's real. So industrialization comes, women go to work. This starts shifting, right? Shifting the environment, shifting the atmosphere. This begins to shift the whole, literally, of everything, that balance between men and women that have hundreds of years of programming and conditioning, that a woman's value to men, guys, a woman was not seen as an equal to a man. Back in the day, if you married a man who saw you as an equal, you were in a very blessed and loving marriage. So men have thousands of years and have inherited thousands of years of superiority, patriarchal thinking mindset when it comes to women. They think, that they are superior, period. So keep coming forward. Right? We go into the feminine movement, feminist, right? Women are saying equal, fair treatment. People have turned the word feminism or a feminist into a really bad word, really, really bad word, mostly at the agenda of men, because men do not want women to be equal and have fair and equal treatment. They resist that in a lot of different ways. Even some of your best, most good-hearted men down subconsciously resent that women are getting fair and equal treatment. Because what does fair and equal treatment mean? It means that women can be the managers. Women can be the boss. Women can own the business. Women could be a man's boss. What? Women could be over a man in business and at work and in industry. Women can make more money. Whoa, wait a minute. What, more to the revolution. Mind blown. How did this happen? Men are struggling with that because throughout history for thousands of years, men make the money, men have all the money, therefore men control women, men have all the power. Because your great-grandmama and even your grandmama, you talk about why these marriages don't last now when they lasted 50 years before, right? Why? Your great-grandma couldn't go nowhere. Your great-grandpa could have been beating your great-grandma upside the head, but she couldn't leave. She ain't got no money. She ain't got no education. And he already has told her, you try to leave me or go anywhere, I'm keeping these babies. You're not taking my children. Because the laws literally supported him in that. Back as late as just as early as the 70s, guys, if you tried to get a divorce as a woman, the man would own all the property and have the children. Literally, just the 70s. A woman couldn't even get a credit card in her own name without her husband's signature. Just back to the 70s. They were stuck. So guess what? They're stuck. You're blessed if you got a good one, a great husband. You're blessed if you're with a good man who loves you and sees you as an equal. But was that the predominant situation? I don't think so. Right? So you got a lot of miserable women in miserable relationships, but they're staying for the sake of their children. They can't go nowhere. Right? And what else is going on back then? cheating. Grandpa got a baby on the other side of town. He got a mistress, right? Men, because back to superiority is cheat for men. Are you concerned about the opinion of a woman who you see as an inferior? She ain't going nowhere. You got all the power. You got all the money. You got everything. Can you do what you want to do and get away with that? Yeah. So back then it's like the men who were the most honorable are just cheating and she doesn't know about it. Don't let her find out. The outright scoundrels are just like openly, right? Deal with it. Suck it up. You ain't going nowhere. Assholes, right? Same thing going on today. Same thing going on today. So fast forward now, and now we've come through feminism, and then you come into women's empowerment, right? Women's empowerment, and you come, now the technology kicks in. Now we got all this technology and social media and all of this access and all of this vision. We're seeing, right? Everything. Technology shifts the landscape completely again, along with women's rights to vote, women's rights period, being seen as an equal, feminism, women's empowerment. You come forward, guys, and you land in 2021. And in 2021, I know I'm not the only one who notices this, right? Literally, it's so antagonistic, so polarized. Think about it. Men and women are at odds with each other. It's women's fault, it's men's fault, and it's attacking each other, and men and women cannot see things the same way. They're arguing, they're fighting, it's toxic. You got all these relationship experts trying to take the side of women, then you got relationship experts taking the side of men, and then there's more polarization. And with social media and the way the algorithms work, when you go through one thing and you Google something and you land on a topic that's reinforcing how you feel or in your feelings about something, you're going to go down the rabbit hole. And there's going to be Facebook groups, and there's going to be vlogs, and there's going to be a whole bunch of content that supports your view on that thing. And so you literally get more and more and more polarized, right? My youngest son last year went through a breakup, and he was in his feelings, and he's Googling stuff, and he's going down the rabbit hole. Guess what? He is finding all kinds of toxic, bitter, angry men with their content to feed his heartbreak. 17. All this toxic craziness to where it's bashing women. Women are like this, women are like that. And he's coming to me, Mom, really, men, women are like this, girls are like this, And I'm having to sit him down and say, is your mom like that? Are your cousins like that? All the women you personally know, who are you talking about? Who are all these women? Who are these women that you're talking of, right? Before you start casting these generalizations and painting with such a wide paintbrush, how about we say the girl you were dating did that to you, and that's how she is. But we don't try to make sweeping generalizations about all girls and all women based on this one experience. How about we don't do that, right? And how about it's time to get some more therapy sessions going. All 3 of my sons have a therapist. All 3 of my black sons have a therapist. I consider that one of the most powerful things I can do as a mother for my sons is to make therapy normal for my sons. So that as men, they know how to express themselves. They know how to take care of themselves mentally, that they literally understand that they have got to be able to process and their emotions, their feelings, their thoughts, right? So literally, when you fast forward to right now, guys, we are dealing with such an upheaval in what people, because everyone wants to go back to the way it was. Men want women to be traditional. Men want women to be catering and nurturing, and they want women to be passive, and they want women to be submissive, and they want women to fit their stereotypical traditional gender role as wife and mother, right? Wife and mother. At the end of the day, but now men have also gotten an appetite and a taste of the independent, sassy, strong woman making her own money. And now he's messed up because he loves the sassiness, sexiness, right? Spontaneity. He loves the fun, the excitement, the adventure of the independent modern woman, but then he still wants the traditional mother, wife, submissive, passive, supportive, nurturing woman as well to marry or to be in a committed relationship. And so they're looking for this needle in a haystack because they want the old, but they also want the new. And women are stuck because now if you are an educated woman with any amount of power or responsibility or titles, or, you're literally, walking out the modern, this is very new, you're making good money, right? You're making good money and you've got this title at work, or you started a company, or you're doing well and you've got your own. Now you struggle because you still want a traditional, stereotypical gender role man, which you've been taught is provider, protector, right? Provider, protector, which typically means you want him to be the breadwinner and you want him to make more money than you, right? Because you don't want to have to work if you have children. Then now that's a catch-22, because you also then don't want to be disrespected or talked down to. You want to be treated as an equal, but that was not part of the traditional role model. The traditional model of relationships didn't have much respect for women. It included disrespect, not really considering women so much, right? It included cheating. It included men doing whatever they want and women just have to deal with it and shut up. So your women are stuck because you don't fit the traditional model of a woman either, and neither do the men. And then the men are like, whoa, wait a minute, you making money? Why are you looking at me like I got to take care of you? Because there's still very traditional things that a man wants from a woman and that a woman wants from a man, because it's so conditioned and programmed. Is some of it biological? Yeah, you could say maybe some of it from a hormonal perspective, biology, physiology perspective, but the majority of it is conditioning and programming and society telling you how it's supposed to be. So you find a lot of women now who are opting out and saying, I don't want to get married at all, right? Because I know this doesn't fit how I want to live my life. I'm going to have to find a real huge exception to the rule type of man to accept me for me. I read an interview with Oprah years ago, and she said, and I got to get ready to go. She said that because she's always asked why her and Stedman never got married. And she said when she was doing the Oprah Winfrey show, that she literally, after interviewing thousands of women and seeing all these women over the years, that she knew she did not fit that stereotypical traditional gender role of a woman. There were other things she wanted to do with her life, and that she didn't want to be a wife and a mom. And she made that choice. And then as she's dating Stedman, he was very respectful of her life goals and her dreams, and he allowed her to be her. So she had this great partner that really empowered her and supported her in her dreams. And she said when they would have conversations about getting married, that she literally knew that if they got married, both of them would change. That because of all of the conditioning and societal programming, she would start to try to be more of the stereotypical wife, and he would start to have more stereotypical husband demands of her, because as it is, he's not expecting her to cook every night. He's got his house, she's got hers. He wasn't putting these demands on her to take care of him and all his needs and all of this traditional wife stuff. But if they got married, she knew it would change. That not only would he change, she would change. And she made a choice to not do that, right? because she knew that's not the life she wanted. And you have more and more women going in that direction because they're recognizing, I know that I can't fit this role and expectation of what men want from me. And then you've got a ton more of the rest of everybody else who still want love and marriage, still want children, but you're trying to navigate that. And then like, oh, somebody just says she don't have kids though. Young fertile women want kids. Oprah's a bad example. So yeah, then you've got women who want kids, and you've got women who are like, my biological clock is ticking, right? I got to meet somebody while I can still have children because I don't want to be 40 when I'm having children, which by the way is a trend also. People are waiting later and later and later to get married and have children because all of this is difficult. All of this is complicated, right? All of it. So you're now find yourself dropped in 2021 where you're in the middle of all of this change. All of this change. And what you hear men venting on social media about, it's really because they don't have the power they used to have. They don't feel it's not fair, right? It used to be much easier for men to have a woman, keep a woman, be married, have children. She's not going to divorce him. She's not going to take his kids, take his money. And they've got a point. It used to be a lot easier. They didn't have to be so afraid of that before. They didn't. But along with that, women were imprisoned inside of marriages, inside of abuse, inside of financial imprisonment, right? To where they had no freedoms. They couldn't get out. So it's this vicious cycle. Canvas by Capricia says that was a good example because she was a spring chicken and still made that decision. I agree. I think that she was ahead of her time. She wasn't old making that decision, guys. She knew herself and made the decision. So you're not tripping. If you are single right now, it is not in your head. You are not alone as a man or a woman. Who's my audience? Good-hearted men, good-hearted women. Who's my audience, right? That's who I'm talking to. You're not tripping. It really is hard. You're out here as a man trying to find a good woman that can balance out. You just want a great partner. And you're also trying to navigate the landscape of yourself to say, what is it I need? What is it I need in a relationship? And trying to take on some of the new ways of thinking about relationships, about partnership. Right? But then as a man, you've got all these pressures to say, be the man, be the leader, be the man of your house. You're supposed to be the provider and protector. So guess what? You start dating somebody, she makes more money than you. Now this throws everything off. It's confusing. It's hard because as a man, you find your power and identity in the relationship by being the financial breadwinner. Well, that's becoming harder and harder, fellas, because these women are making more and more and more money. So for you, that's really hard. Like, dang, I'm making 80,000 and that ain't enough. Ain't enough, right? And ladies, you're out here like, dang, you don't even realize your subconscious programming is making you say, you could be making 200,000, but you say somebody's got to be making more money than me. So you only want to date a man making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, but you also want to be attracted to him, but he also has to have great morals and character and integrity and blah, 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 blah. So you literally are looking for a needle in a haystack. Backed yourself into this very lonely corner because none of these rules in your subconscious programming apply to this modern world you live in. We've never been here before. This is all new. So you're trying to still be traditional, but yet you're modern, and now everything's effed up. And there's no going back. There's no putting the cat in the bag. There's no way to make men be the way they were 50 and 100 years ago. There's no way to make women be the way they were 50 and 100 years ago. There's no going back. And then, right? But we say women's expectations are too high. Men's expectations have become too high too. Because what happens in dating, guys, and I got to get in class. In dating, you start having all these experiences. Human nature, human psychology, guys. Fellas, let me tell you something. When you're dating and dating and dating, you just start, and this, I know what I'm talking about. You're like, oh, I like this about her. I like this about her. You start in your mind creating this idealistic woman for yourself because you're having all these experiences. experiences. And you're like, oh, I love this, but that didn't work with her because of this. So then in your mind, you just keep layering on. She got to have a big booty. She got to be this. She got to be this. She got to be, an executive. She got to have this money. She got to own a business. She got to be look like this. And literally you're going down the rabbit hole because you don't realize that your brain is creating this prototype of a woman that freaking doesn't exist for you. And you literally are like waiting. Like, when am I going to meet this special woman? But you don't realize men didn't have all these experiences. You didn't have access to all of these thousands of women. There was no technology. There was no social media. Your eyes were not, the only thing you were literally seeing covered up women on TV. You had to buy a Playboy magazine to see, or a Hustler magazine to see a naked woman. But you just open your phone now and it's nothing but bad bodies and baddies everywhere. Another pretty face, another bad body, another woman making money, and so your brain is like creating this like false narrative that all of this is an option for you. And that inside of those women, you can find the character and integrity, the type of woman, the intrinsic values you really want from a woman. But you'll find, like a good woman, you're going to find it, in the Barbie doll. And so you keep trying to find, but then she's a liar, but then she's a cheater, but then she's a manipulator, and then she's a scammer, and then she's and so you're struggling to find, that good woman with all that matches all these other experiences you had, who's dropping it like it's hot. And then men are putting all these other, they're saying, well, she needs to be able to drop it like she's hot. Pray for me, right? Yeah, I'll do a part 2 tomorrow, Bree, because I got to go. Class is starting. I love you guys. So part 1, this is relationship revolution. We are in a relationship revolution, part 1. I'll do part 2 tomorrow. I'll keep talking about it because that's what's going on. That's why it's so hard. Really, really hard. So we'll talk tomorrow a little bit about why it's hard and what can you do to make it easier for yourself. Okay? What can you do to make it easier yourself? All right. Love you guys. I got to go to class. Love you. Bye.